Well, this is fun. The kickoff of the Big Sky Documentary Film Festival, the 19th year. It's been in Missoula. I'm Colter Nuanez. You most commonly know me from ESPN Radio, but this is more of a broad interview. We'll be doing a variety of interviews here throughout the next 10 days, 2 weeks. Some can be found on my daily radio show, and others you can find either on the Trail 103.3 FM or on the Big Sky Doc Fest podcast feed. This is very exciting. One of my favorite events in Missoula is this Doc Fest. A lot of times we get to see the world debuts of movies, and we get to see that this year as well. This film we're talking about today, Being Michelle. It's a documentary about a woman who overcome a tremendous amount of adversity in her life. So I'm here now with May and Atin Mehra, as well as Harold Foxx and Mary Morrison. So this is very fun. Thanks so much for being here, guys. First of all, we'll start with you two, the Mehras. What was the inspiration for this film? We'll start with you, May.
Sure. We met Michelle about 3 years ago, and we initially had met her guardian at that time, Kim Law. And initially, Atin was there and had met her and started to learn about her life. There was she ran away. Something had happened that upset her, and she ran, and that was kind of the first click. Atin happened to be there with his camera and happened to follow her, and took quite a few hours to find her. But that was and Atin immediately connected with Michelle, and following that we continued to unravel and learn the different layers of all the things she's experienced in life. And
those things, Atin, she's deaf, also has various disabilities. So tell us about sort of the entry point to this film and what you guys wanted to convey while making it. Because it seems like a challenging subject as well as a challenging film to make just in general.
Well, first of all, we are all here because of Michelle. And the second thing, I was born and raised in India in a small town. And I came here 16 years ago. So the friend of mine, who is also the EP on this film, he told me about Kim basically and Michelle, but I never met Michelle. So I think the process of first thing for me was very shocking, to hear that we live in this amazing country, and then at the same time there is a minorities, especially like deaf, being treated in such a horrible way, So that was, I think, the one, because we always choose the film that leaves some sort of imprint for people, for society especially, to also give a research work to make those changes. I think this is the same thing. I feel like Michelle's story is not only the story within the deaf community, but why we don't hear, why no one else talk about it. So I think the problem is with I believe in the improvements. Society improves slowly. It takes a time. It's not overnight deal. But if we don't talk about it, we don't discuss, we don't have a round table where people also not hearing filmmakers, but hearing the person who told a story, because it's a big, huge. It's not easy to just come in front of the camera and tell what's happened to you. You need a lot of courage. And I have great respect for Michelle and all the other Michelles out there. They open up, and they don't think about themselves. That's something makes Michelle stronger, because despite whatever she went through in her life, she never gave up. She's so strong. She's stronger than all of us. And that's where my point is. If we have some leader like that in society, who was, like I call it, hidden treasure, that also believe in hope for others, So that's our hope, is that we finish this one, after this film is start going to different festival route, people will become part of this movement, and then from politicians to local, like all officials and other, especially people wake up and do something, not just watch and leave. Do something, because I feel like that's where we're gonna improve the society. And, we will heal this nation.
The most chilling line of the trailer, and you can find the trailer online, is, I'm not even sure the subject that says this, but he says, "I can't imagine being incarcerated in the Florida State Penitentiary without being able to hear or speak." And it seems unthinkable that this could even happen, but yet this was the reality for this woman. So just take us through that without spoiling too much of the movie. I mean, just take us through that, because that's sort of the entry point to this, right? This woman has been battling and had all these challenges, and then falls upon even harder times by being incarcerated.
I think the problem is, when I feel like the people, they get always distracted by this and that. For me, just, listening Michelle and giving her space, one thing I do feel like that the system totally failed her, from the beginning. Sure. So it's not only what happened inside in the prison and how she was treated, because you have to also think about, instead of blaming on someone, if you just see the bigger picture, that there's no education, basically. The cops to, the prison guard, they don't have any kind of training about how to communicate with deaf person. They don't understand the deaf culture. So if you don't have education, how you shut someone down? Because you are frustrated also, you don't know how to communicate, and you don't have any idea how to communicate. So that's not, that I think that's one of the biggest reasons, but also as if, what's happening in the courtrooms, basically, how the judge really impacts the society. Their decision, this one decision, can make someone's life better or can destroy it. Because once you have one sentence is written on that paper, everyone else after that just follows that, go back to the same thing. This is what was happening to her. She, when I met her, we read a lot of stuff that, they're saying that she's criminal and this and that, but I never had anything. She's just the most beautiful, gentle person, an amazing artist in the same times. All she needs is a space, respect, and also people hear her. That's, I think, one of the biggest problem that I feel like, when you can't, the mic says all this too in the film, but the best way is to ignore. That's the way the system deals with things. Right. Instead of confront that and trying to come together and solve this. Most of these laws and stuff is 200-year old, and we are living in 21st century. What are you talking about? So I feel like that's my and on the top of that, her language is the hand only, yeah. But in Florida prison, they have this black box they put on her that only. It's like someone put duct tape on your mouth and
right.
said, same exact, same thing. So those were one of the most, I think, some of the most shocking, experience that we went through, and it was very hard for us to film. I think it was the hardest thing for me to film because first, it's as a team, we have to make a lot of decisions. So the one scene I think we wanted to shoot, it was reenactment, basically. Take her, find someone else as an actress. Don't show her face and show how the black box, basically, they can communicate if they have black box. And I asked Michelle, I was like, this is what we are thinking about, bringing some actress and she will going to perform that. And Michelle said, no, this is my story and I want to share the experience. So she went personally and did, and that was the hardest scene because towards the end, the keys was not working. So she was locked for almost hour and 45 minutes. Yeah.
Big Sky Documentary Film Festival starts tomorrow here in Missoula. This film will debut its world premiere tomorrow as well. And this is amazing. I mean, we're sitting here watching Mary. She is an interpreter, and she is signing to Harold. And unbelievable that she can do this so fluently. But we'll take a minute to let Harold answer. But Harold, what is your connection to this film, and why do you think this is important as someone that's from the same community as Michelle?
Well, really, the process that I became involved is a different projects that I'd worked on independently. Respectability is a group that I work with in California, and they picked me to discuss this with. Michelle, they sent me a trailer of Being Michelle, and I thought it was a great opportunity for me to be involved in with my background of the knowledge that I had. And again, for me, myself, as a black, deaf man, you know, I've had to go through so many different challenges because of my disability, because of my color, and all of the types of experiences I've made it through. In the world we see, Michelle herself, her story and what she's gone through has left permanent scars, and that's the system's impression on her. So I want to encourage sharing it with the world. So you have to see it and hear it. You have to hear Michelle's story. And again, she's not the only one. There are a lot of other individuals like her that have had the similar experiences.
If you don't mind, can you share some of your challenges that you've had? Because I'm sure, like you say, there's been much adversity in your life as well, Harold.
Yeah, for example, one experience that I've had, I was homeless before. And at that time, I had a lot of struggles and crashes before I was able to work on my own way and out of that. So at that time, I was in my car, I was sleeping in my car, and a cop pulled up, and it just seemed like somebody was pounding on my door, my window, and it was really confusing. And I saw police shining lights at me, and I wanted to just take a nap in my car, and the police had me in cuffs. They said, "Oh no, I know him, he works upstairs," and so they left me alone. But I was really lucky. You know, that just demonstrates a need because I'm deaf and black, and so what happened so quickly to me, it's not the first time it's happened before that. So it's really so many things that happen, black, deaf, with a disability. So there's so many people in the world, and how the system is challenging to all of us.
Profound. Who do you hope this film speaks to? Because it seems like this is a very important thing that could resonate with people that have a direct connection with the experience, but also very important for other people to understand, to sort of break down this barrier and realize that there's so much contribution that any and every person can make to society.
Absolutely. You know, right now we're, connecting with, we want everyone to watch this film, and all of us as fellow human beings have things that we can do in our own lives to connect with and make society more accessible to everyone. And I think that it's endless in terms of how the systems in our country need to change, and world. But each of us, one of my favorite quotes is by Joanna Macy, and she says, hope is a verb. And, all of us need to enact hope daily and, make changes to make the society what we need to see and what we need.
What was the most challenging part of making this film, do you think?
Goodness. The most challenging part is to make sure that ourselves, not being deaf, that we are telling Michelle's story in a way that represents her experience and represents the experience of the many, many, many other deaf, disabled people who are dealing with what she's dealing with. And so to be doing that in a mindful way that allows the community to speak, I think that's been, for me, it's been challenging. It's also been a challenge that we've really loved to step into because it's so important.
And Atin, there's so much emotion behind this, both for your own connection to this, but also because the subject matter. I mean, if you are a compassionate person, this is an infuriating thing to sort of document. So how do you balance the emotion? Because obviously you want to have compassion, you want to have sympathy, you want to make a difference, but with any piece of art or any piece of creation, being a steady hand is sort of essential, right? So how do you sort of balance all of that?
I think the most important part, I feel like, because in my past I worked with a lot of different filmmakers as a line producer and other this and that. I think one thing I learned through the experiences working for others, that we just gotta have a patience, space, and respect. Those three things are very important, and we gave that to Michelle. When I met her, we moved into a small trailer. I moved in the same property with her, and I also showed her as soon as she understood about the little bit filmmaking, how you shoot and why you shoot and why you put together, she become, I think she was more like a co-director. She was coming with all these things, and she was excited about, she understand why her story is so important and why people, they want to hear her story. Because, it's like one of the things, she was traumatized that no one ever before this, we turned on the camera, sat down and asked her how she's doing.
Right.
I think that's the most powerful thing camera does, not us. We are observer. We are there to observe her. But camera really helped her because it becomes her own mirror. Yeah. And same times, yeah, it's a really tough subject. She was in the middle of the court case and she was traumatized. I don't want to reveal everything, but part of the journey was very tough for us to film her because she will go on and off and on in her trauma. But I think overall, the teamwork is a dream work. Yeah, we worked as a team, and she was the leader of that team. We let her, we listen her, but we also let her dictate her own story. So I think, and there was a lot of joy moment. Like a lot of the artwork, having a fun and love for how the animals and wildlife is crazy about her, that she will grab any snakes without knowing that's poison and throw on you, just for fun. A lizard, or she will just when she laughs, she's just like full with like when she's in trauma, she's in trauma. When she's in fun mood, she's in fun mood. That's her character is, and this is I think what happened to all of us when we were traumatized in our life. So I feel like the crew, it played a huge role, and also we were able to train one of Kim's daughter to become sound girl. She was, and she's amazing now. She spent 3 years with her. She learned about her. So we wanted to keep the crew very minimum because we did, we wanted to basically become family. And I think that really played, huge role in the process of this filmmaking.
And Harold, we'll end with you. What do you hope people gain from this, or what do you hope that they learn, and what do you hope sort of this teaches the people that see this when it debuts tomorrow night?
Really, the point is to share stories and to get that information out here, that the system can oppress all of us. And this young woman, for example, this one, Michelle right now, but we want to get the impression out there. We want to get the word out there that we need to match individual needs with a good interpreter. An individual with autism and deaf, it takes a special kind of access. But we want to use this movie, Being Michelle, as a way to communicate that everyone deserves equal access throughout the system. But we really hope that it teaches people and gives the understanding that equal access is critical to being a human being.
Well, wonderful. It's a very important movie. Saturday at the Wilma, 7:30 p.m. You can see the world debut of Being Michelle, a documentary film in part presented by Atin and Mary Morrison and Harold Foxx. Thanks so much for being here with us, guys. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.